eliminating cash is pushing the world towards total government surveillance, and China is just about there. I think one of the main indicators that, as a Christian, that we do believe that we are in the last days, the end times, close to the tribulation period, is the fact that we have this new push towards digital currency and all the convenience, yet threats that go along with it. And one of those threats is surveillance. The ability for a government that would be in charge of such currency to be able to just turn it off and cut you off at any time for any reason they see fit. And you're pretty much powerless at that point to stop it. And there is a specific prophecy that's located in the Bible that talks about this. So even if you don't want to believe that the Bible is accurate, there are things that are very intriguing, and I would urge you to at least take a look at it. We're going to take a look at it here in a minute. But this article is coming from CBN News. It says China is on the cusp of eliminating cash, pushing the world toward total government surveillance. The Chinese were the first in the world to invent paper money back in the 7th century, and now, about 1400 years later, they are again on the cusp of creating a new form of government currency that some say could pose a serious economic threat to America and the West. So it's not just China, this would have ripple effects throughout the whole world. In effect, they are not cryptocurrencies. They are not so-called stable coins. In effect, they are the national physical currency of a country, just represented in a digital form. See, the thing with cryptocurrency is, as nice and free as it may be, there's no way to track it or control it. So I have no doubt that other governments besides just China will eventually want to adopt this digital form of currency, but have it regulated, and therefore they can track and control it. Bethel says that while the world fixates on private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Beijing is busy building a digital version of its own currency, the yuan. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but it's yuan, also known as the renminbi, to control its citizens and eventually threaten the dominance of the US dollar. They've pretty much created all the building blocks that will allow a central bank currency to flourish, a digital currency to flourish. Yahya Fanusi, a former economic and counterterrorism analyst in the CIA, says China's goal is to replace cash with a digital currency that's controlled by the communist government's central bank. China has said for a while that it expects to be pretty much a cashless society in the future, so that the idea that the cash notes, coins, will no longer be around, and that people will have to be using their digital currency, and that's all they'll have the ability to do. So they want to totally eliminate cash, cashless society, and go straight digital. So you will not have the freedom. Think of what that involves. You would have no cash. Everything would be tracked. All payments would be, all the data, because this is an information and data war. I just talked about AI and how the Pentagon is messing around with AI, using experiments and AI trying to predict the future, using data surveillance. This goes with that. I mean, it's hand in hand. With the more data they have, the more control they have. And if they are able to see everything you buy, everything you purchase, not only can they profile you better because they know your habits, your spending habits, what you like to spend your money on, it gives them the ability to turn it off, which we'll talk about in a second here. The digital currency will also be issued by the government bank, allowing what Congressman Michael McCaul, of top Republican of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, says is unprecedented access to people's financial transactions. Do you feel comfortable with that? I, for one, would not want that kind of information being out there and accessible to anyone in the government. This will give them data on behavior and how people spend. It gives Beijing the power to track that spending in real time. There will be a point where the People's Bank of China and the central bank of the country is going to be able to peer inside of every single transaction, what everyone does 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Isn't that a comforting thought? This means if you're a human rights activist or a Christian, authorities can now use this new technology to punish you if you engage in activities they consider anti-government. And when you're up against the communist regime, you have no rights as it is. And now they're able to track everything you do and spend your money on. They've got cameras everywhere, social credit systems, and if they get their money digitized, well, there's no physical currency anymore. They'll be able to track every transaction that's made with Chinese currency, and they can shut you off. Just shut you off if they decide they don't like who you are or what your faith is. This technological ability is something the government has never had before. It always had to go to companies and ask, is it okay if I cut this person off? But now the Chinese government will have the proverbial flip of the switch and can make people fall in line by cutting off their access to money. So this does make me think of the prophecy in the Bible of the mark of the beast. Now that is one of the most highly debated and has probably more theories than almost anything else. What is the mark of the beast? How is it going to be implemented? And I think this is setting the way. I'm not saying this is it. Many people out there think that the current situation with the jab, they think that is it. It's not. It's not. But it is definitely setting the stage. So if we take a look here, Revelation 13:16. So this is from the Bible, Revelation 13:16. It says here, the second beast was permitted to give breath to the image of the first beast. Well, that's a whole different topic right there, too. Very interesting statement. A first beast was able to give breath, or the second beast, rather, was able to give breath to the first beast, the image of the beast. I just did a video on AI. Could that be tied into this? Possibly, but that's another video. And the second beast required all people, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or their forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless they had the mark of the beast, or the name of the beast, or the number of its name. So there you have a prophecy here written a couple thousand years ago that depicts, it would have been impossible. This could never have been fulfilled before this modern time, modernity. It could not have been fulfilled because there was no way to turn off access to prevent people from buying and selling before the digital age. But now, especially with this digital currency, and don't think that other governments and countries are not going to adapt this in the future. This is paving the way for such a prophecy to come true. They will have the ability to not allow you to buy, sell, trade, unless you, eventually take this mark. But right now, fall in line with whatever that current government's ideology is. And sometime in the future, when this prophecy is fulfilled and the Antichrist is on the stage, you will not be able to buy or sell unless you take this mark. What the mark is, it's anyone's guess. I think it will somehow involve some sort of digital currency. I think this will be it'll be a worldwide thing. It won't be just restricted to China, but the technology is there. That's basically the point that I'm trying to make here, is the technology is there. We are at a point now that this kind of thing, which could have never been fulfilled before modernity, can now actually happen. They have the ability to do this. So I found this very, not surprising because of the times we live in, but very staggering. And, its prophecies are jumping right out of the pages of the Bible. So I would urge you to take a look, at least take a look at these things and follow, what this means for the future. Because we're marching towards it. Well, thank you guys for watching this video. Do tune in on Sunday nights at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We do our Enter the Unfamiliar live stream, and we have a number of guests and cover all these kind of topics and more. So I do thank you for watching.